here with my Iron Giant. So we will wait and see if any of you find it. Of course, I could go online and say, "Hey, I'm up," but we'll see if anyone pops in. It's working from the pad. So if none of you find this, we will do this again. Well, not tomorrow, but we'll do it again maybe Monday, a little earlier, like when I first get in, so I can have the day to work. So meantime, since it will be shown, I can show around the shop a little bit. Hi, Steve. Camera around here. Um, Let me close this at my. It's just terrible, which is my big problem today. So there's my Iron Giant. He's quite large. And Manson Class, how you guys have found that. I did manage to get this darn thing working. I know a lot of people from the UK, which is the reason I was married to an English woman for 33 years before she passed away from cancer. What else? So if any of you can reach the net and let people know on Facebook and the slot car forums and some of the other places that I'm doing this, I will be doing this till approximately 4 o'clock. So, of course, this is my enterprise model I built back 12 years ago entirely from scratch. I made molds and silicone molds of this and cast it and casting resins. There's so much stuff in here. It's so of course the U-boats here, this Type 23 and this Type 7 are both radio controlled. They actually function. Just about everything in here flies, sails, and you name it. Unfortunately, these aren't turned on. Turn on. Hopefully, the stream will keep working. It keeps cutting out. So this is the laser blast gun down here. Let's plug this in. This is the laser blast gun from Laser Blast. It's a weapon I made the gun for the film. Audio is low. It's probably this great bloody pad. Let's see. Have something go wrong. No, I don't want to turn it off. Wrong thing. Oh, indeed, Battlestar Galactica. That I built a while ago. It looks like I may have lost some of you. Although we're not going to have many people today because the whole darn stream collapsed. So boy, tell you. Here I thought I had everything. And clearly it is not all plugged in. Lots of things you probably all have, like that and this, but you don't have one of these because this is the big TWA moon rocket that used to be at Disneyland. In fact, I went there in the late 50s and stood right down there and looked up at it. It had a big influence on me. A lot of the masks that I have made over the last couple of years and offer on my website. A lot of them from Outer Limits. Of course, you all know Baylock. More down here. And of course, oh, yes, in the original
God, you really need to do a better job on giving us a real look at your amazing things. Well, I don't know how that would be done outside of hooking up a 4K camera with my lavalier Sennheiser and somehow connecting that to stream and then walking around the studio with it. I'm at a loss to figure out how that might be done. I'm trying to read your comments at the same time. Chris, both the actors. Uh, Naughty Plastic one. I love this. I got this before I met Chuck, and he also signed this. It's signed by the artist. A lot of props. None of them original. Not one. Not even the blaster. A simple blaster, Morbius. Uh, there's lots of airplanes and rockets, and they all fly. And oh, let's not forget Moonwatcher and the Star Child. And of course, Adam Savage has one of these. I made it for him. He also has a Moonwatcher, which I also made for him, and he likes a lot. And the it does move when you wear it. And in fact, Dan Rector, the man who played Moonwatcher, came to my studio and put this on, which was pretty amazing. I have pictures of him doing it. And then this was something Adam Savage got me involved in. Uh, I took this out because Elliot Brown made this, and it's really, he did it all from scratch. I have two of them, and it's just gorgeous. And the guy did such an incredible job. And of course, that fits up here. And when it was on exhibit in San Francisco, it was in there. And when they brought it back, that remained in there. And then I bent over to do something and came within 1 inch of poking my eye out. You're going to poke your eye out on this rather sharp bit sticking out from the back. So I've since taken it out. Look inside the bay, which is a real illusion. It looks like it goes very deep there, but it's not. The backlighting's not helping. Maybe I should, if I get rid of some of that backlighting, it might help a little bit. And yes, the back part of it's lit in red. It looks better when it's not in broad daylight. It was quite an undertaking building the model entirely from scratch and doing it in 6 weeks. I'm fine, Mike. Thank you. Show it, Steve. Well, here it is, Warren. Painfully up close. Of course, I have my friend Gary Lockwood standing here, who I need to give a call. I haven't talked to him for a while. His wife hijacked him, took him to Delaware, of all places, wanted him away from Hollywood for some reason. I really miss his visits to my studio. You could even see, even looks like you could see some of the rooms back in there and stuff. But actually, that's some interior I started to put in but never finished. And of course, I think everybody has one of these. And there's Gary up there sitting in the seat. The entire interior is inside there, although it's going to be kind of hard to see on this camera. So, and everybody should have Hal. I have several over the years. Many people have built them, but this one's probably the nicest one I've ever seen and most accurate. So, and a painting I did from 2001. I did several. Bob Burns has one. There's this one, which Stargate and the pod, EVA pod coming out of it, and inside there is, you can just make out Dave Bowman in there. So, I will take you now in the back. But this is my office. And there's some of my computers. All the computers I do all my editing on and everything is at home. All the professional work. Those are just internet machines. Again, I will show for some of you coming in now my large Iron Giant, my one-off, my scratch build I made. Although I did make busts for a while, and I still offer them. Everybody wants one. Adam Savage has one of those too, and a lot of the collectors. I do have molds on all this stuff, so let's see. Okay, well, I can't believe this thing's working. I guess our internet connection improved. I'll work on the audio. Maybe my phone will be better to do this on than an iPad. So, and here is the current project, which is a customer project for Brian Dunn. Of course, the connection. If I stand, I'm currently going to produce a kit of, which is a Cooper, a T51 from 1950. No, I'm back. Well, nice thing is you can all this because it will be saved on the channel. But this is the upside. There's my X1 over there that I actually flew at one time. It's a scratch build and it was radio controlled. This is one of my other building tables up here. This boat is under repair. I built this about 15 years ago. It's all scratch built. This is another rocket I'm going to be working on soon. It's carbon fiber and fiberglass, and this is will probably go about 7,000 feet and just get me my level 2. I am a level 1 with the National Association of Rocketry, so I'm going for my level 2 yet, and that will be the rocket. Small, but the engine in it is a K engine. It's quite large. I see I'm losing people right and left, so I'm probably going to end this pretty soon. Here, I'll show you the engine. It's just a monster. So that goes in this, and it will go at least Mach 1. So, yeah, so lots of free flight airplanes. I need to get out and fly. Mary's working on a new painting over here. Pattern cutter out decals and vinyl and balsa wood and all kinds of cool stuff. And I had a really good time flying that rocket. It's very impressive when it takes off. There's Rosie, the scratching dog. Rosie! And Nova's downstairs. So I'm going to go back downstairs again, and we'll see if this I can do this without falling down the stairs. That's something I don't want to do at any age, let alone my age. So I'm sidestepping. And you can get a view from the top. That slot car track removes and goes on its side. That is a 50-something-year-old track, a Revel, or as you Brits call it, Revel. And it was given to me and thought to be something that wouldn't work anymore, and I got it working and made it into a dirt track because there's not that much of it. But all the original controllers and everything still work, so the track for my cars work. Or at the studio. Somewhere around here, probably in this bag right here, if I can get into it, is my new car. Let me set. So this was a total disaster, I think. I'm going to turn the camera back around. My ugly mug. It was a total disaster. Our internet here is god awful, and I don't think the pad works that well. You're having difficulties hearing me, correct? It's not as loud as it could be. But that's all we're able to get. You know, at home we have a much better connection, but there's nothing for you to see at home except another slot car track, a nicer one than I have here. But of course, if I stand right here, it works fine. Before we close this up, it's 15 minutes left, so if there's any questions you had to ask about my career or movies I've worked on, anything from Ghostbusters to Star Trek to Fright Night to Laser Blast to, oh God, that movie I produced and wrote, The Day Time Ended. Horrible title. It was originally called Vortex. And of course, the sun's coming right in here now. I can't seem to win. Um, Let me see if I close these drapes, if it makes it any better. Well, a little bit. Okay. So, like I said, if you had anything you'd like to ask of me, now would be the time to ask. Um, while we're actually, I found a place where it works. That's an interesting shot. There. Okay. Nice background. You could ask me about how I built this Iron Giant who's towering over my head and how I'll ever get it out of the studio. What was it like working with Sigourney Weaver? Well, I'll tell you, she was terrific. I don't know what else has been said about her. How is George doing? George is back east still. Um, Working with Sigourney Weaver was a real pleasure. She was very nice, really professional, great to work with. In fact, that scene where I grab her in the face with the hands, um, you know, I was on set, and of course, stuffed in the arm of this chair and looking out of it. And Ivan Reitman wasn't happy with what he was getting because I wasn't hitting Sigourney in the face super hard, like if that actually was to happen, if a real creature burst its arm out and grabbed her. And she wanted me to do that. And I was very cautious about that because there were very sharp, strong nails on the hand. I was worried about poking an eye out or bruising her face. And I told them that, and she said no. She says just hit me with that hand of yours like you were really that creature because I can't act throwing my head back realistically enough as if it actually happened. And Ivan looked at me and said, "Go ahead, do it. She likes it." He was a real character. But she was terrific, and I did beat her black and blue. The next day on the set, um, when we continued the shooting, because it took about 4 days to shoot that whole sequence, she was black and blue, but makeup fixed her up just fine. There were no hard feelings. Everybody was happy with what we got the day before, and so we just moved on. She was very professional. She was very good that way. And many of the actors that I worked with in my career were like that way. Oliver Reed, most of all. So she was great. In fact, she came to Boss Films where we were doing the effects, working on a lot of the creature effects and stuff, and visited, and she was just wonderful. She wanted to see where we did all the magic. Any more questions? See, if I sit here like this, it's fine. But the minute I start walking around, uh, not unless you want me to. If there's something else you want me to show you, you've got 10 minutes. Mary will be back any time now, and she's going to ask how it went, and I'm going to tell her what a horrible botched up job I did of doing this. But now I've learned how this will actually work, and I'm hoping that usually, even though we only have basically DSL or 34 megabytes per second here, it still works better than this. Today is a particular bad day. I noticed the minute I got in here with um, our internet connection on the phones and on the two computers in there and this pad. So, well, he wants one, but the problem with it would be is I would have to mold, and I told this to Adam. I said I would have to mold all the parts. And that's going to cost hundreds of dollars in silicone, and then cast them out of fiberglass. And it was so labor intensive to make more than one of these that, and he said, well, so how much? And I said, well, we're looking at like over 100 grand. And he said, well, I'll pass on that. So what I did is I sent him one of the busts, which he loves and sometimes puts on his show. So, but it really, it's a lot of work to make one of these guys. Really. It's tripled or terrible. It's about 150, $175 a gallon here. If you buy 5 gallons, and it gets like 500 and something. And to mold this guy, uh, yeah, it would take more than 5 gallons. And then all the stuff to make the mother mold. And then, everything would be cast out of $150 a gallon epoxy resin and glass. It just goes on and on and on. In fact, the Enterprise I get asked about all the time. Hi, Spectre. I get asked all the time about the Enterprise. How much for one? And I tell them 20 grand. These guys faint, but it takes now. It used to be about $2,500 to. I'm just reading a comment here. It took about $2,500 worth of materials just to build this, just for the materials, to cast everything up out of all the lights and everything. See if I can block off some of this light. Do not disturb. What? Can you still hear me? This pad is doing odd things. Well, anyway, as I was saying, as if you could hear me, this model is very expensive to build. And then there's my time and labor and everything. So building probably because of the exorbitant cost of things. Jeez. Yeah, I dare. Now, I'm having a lot of problems getting a steady feed from this pad. So let's give you a little different background of the Enterprise back there. Oh boy. So any other questions? There's only 4 of you. Last week we had almost 30 people, and when the stream went down today and wasn't working right, that brought us down to 4 people. So, but I'm really glad you all decided to brave this rough ride with me. So we're going to end this in a couple more minutes. And we lost everybody else, which is really unfortunate, but these things happen with the internet and all. I want to thank you all for coming today, or at least trying to anyway. And we'll try this again next week, uh, um, maybe Wednesday or something like that. I'm only going to do these every 2 weeks, but this was sort of a botched test to see if I could show us all around the studio. And I found out all the pitfalls. I have to make sure we have a good connection the day I do it. Um, and we didn't today. Back to this model, and let's find out if while I'm over here, the connection holds this time. Okay, guys, I think we've all had enough of this going in and out. I'm going to end this stream. Thanks for showing up, and like I said, we'll try this again on I'll announce it on Facebook and a few other places about the stream. See you then.